Former five-star cornerback from Colorado, Cormani McClain has officially committed to Florida. Steve Wiltfall and Pete Nakos were all over this from the jump. What does this mean for Florida? Is this a good move for Billy Napier and company? Is this a good fit for Cormani McClain as he jumps into the next chapter of his career? We'll talk about that right now, but first things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Don't want y'all to miss a minute of all the content we got going on right here. We got a whole hour-long podcast for you. Type in the Hard Count with J.D. Pickell. You can check that out there. I'll go ahead and link that to this video as well underneath in the comment section. But bottom line, college football season around the corner. The transfer portal does not stop. Make sure you are subscribed right here. We appreciate y'all in advance for getting that done. So in some ways, when this thing started to trend towards Cormani ending up at Florida, it felt like a little bit of a head-scratcher because Cormani McClain, just to call a spade here, there weren't really many high-profile suitors in the market for him from what we were able to glean. Now, it's possible that there were some other bigger brand schools that maybe kicked the tires and ended up not being a fit for either side. But from what we could tell, it was a lot of G5 schools like USF. Heard about Memphis being in the mix for him. And so out of nowhere, seemingly, comes Florida, an SEC school, to land Cormani McClain. And I think if we're talking about how this feels if you're a Florida fan, there's got to be some portion of this fan base that's like, well, Cormani McClain, yeah, is a high-profile kid out of high school. We thought we were going to get him out of high school, but wasn't Deion Sanders talking about this kid not necessarily handling his business while he was at Colorado? We're trying to get this thing back to where we expect it to be at Florida. Like, do we really need someone who's not handling their business in that locker room? Is that really a winning move for us here at Florida? And what I think I would say to that is, I promise you, that Florida staff has done all their homework and then some on Cormani McClain, I'd have to imagine. And the fact that they're bringing him in means they are betting on, one, he's going to be able to help them in some way, shape, or form, so he's good enough to play there. That's the first thought within that staff. The second thought is that any potential issues that could arise, any potential issues that Cormani McClain could bring to the table, they have a culture in place and they have a locker room in place that's going to be able to withstand that. Again, I said this on our live show. I'll say it again. This, to me, gives a very similar vibe to when Agiye Hall transferred from Alabama to Texas. There was a lot of excitement because he's a really talented player. Cormani McClain was a five-star out of high school. However, Agiye Hall goes to Texas, isn't a fit, ends up now walking on at UCF. But the thing within that story is it's not so much the sentiment that Agiye Hall couldn't cut it at Texas. The sentiment to me is that Agiye Hall wasn't a fit and Texas was fine in the long term either way. And so I hope that Cormani McClain, for his sake, is a tremendous fit at Florida. I think he has all the possibility in the world to be able to help them long term. But Billy Napier is saying even if he doesn't help us, even if he's not a fit culturally, we have the right processes in place, we have the right personnel in place to where we're going to be fine either way. We're solid either way foundationally. If he helps us, incredible. But if not, it's unfortunate, but it's not a thing that's going to bring this thing down from the inside. Now, I will say this too. I think Cormani McClain, how he fits in 2024 is going to be interesting. I see him potentially contributing this season. I don't see him being a starter or someone that you're depending on to be your starting boundary or field corner. Just not my expectation for him going into this season. Now, how is this a fit for Cormani McClain? I think for what he was looking for when it comes to his next destination. On his YouTube channel, he talked about wanting to get his reputation back right and go somewhere where he can really be able to develop and become his best player and reach his potential. And with what I just said a second ago about him potentially not being a starter in 2024, well, then 2024 for him is all about developing, all about leaning into the process of becoming his best self behind closed doors, his best self from a football perspective behind closed doors. And I think the opportunity here for Cormani McClain is enormous. Like, we're talking about the G5 being his next stop. He's landing at an SEC school right now. If you go take care of business in the SEC, even if it's just for one season, and you put good film out there, I mean, Xavier Legette's a tremendous example of this from this past season at South Carolina. You go ball against SEC competition, even if it's just for 1 year, you give yourself a chance to make a whole lot of money in the NFL. And so Cormani McClain, if you want to be able to go play at the next level and you want to be able to develop, this is your chance to do it. This is your chance to go take advantage of this opportunity. So for both parties, Florida gets a really talented cornerback. Cormani McClain gets another chance to play big-time college football, gets to be back closer to home where he's from in the state of Florida. I see it as a great fit for both parties. if Cormani McClain is able to buy into the process, buy into the development, and be able to maybe do away with some things that didn't help him at Colorado, could end up being a good thing. Again, I don't think Cormani McClain is a guy you're depending on in the starting rotation every single Saturday this fall, but regardless, you add some talent, 5-star caliber player, and I'm excited to see how this thing unfolds. So let me know in the comments section, do you like the move for Florida landing Cormani McClain via the transfer portal from Colorado? Make sure you subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JD Pakel to stay with every single thing that we got going on here right on this show. We appreciate y'all being dialed in. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.